Okay, when you come out to Long Acres Ranch, you're gonna come and pick up your stuff that you're gonna need for the quail. You're gonna get a box like this that has everything you need, and you're gonna get a set of eggs. So there's 12 eggs that you'll get. Take this home. You don't need to do anything to it overnight, but you do want to take it to school the next day and get this set up. So when you take it to school, and it can just stay in room temperature, don't let it get super cold and don't let it get super hot either. So again, just store your eggs in your car overnight is probably fine. When you get to school the next day, take your brooder box and you're going to take these things out. The incubator is the most important thing, so the rest of the stuff can stay in there. Take your incubator out, and this will stay in here. And then what you're gonna do is, there are instructions for setting this, and you're gonna set this, I believe, for 24 days. Yes, 24 days. And when you set this for 24 days, basically it's just gonna it's gonna count down the days until the chicks hatch. So again, there's other instructions on this. You'll plug it in and you'll take your eggs and you're going to place them, there's a plate on here, and you place your eggs on your plate like this. You get 12 eggs. Don't worry if they don't all hatch. You will have some that don't hatch, and you will have some that hatch and don't survive, and that's just part of the whole process. So take your eggs, again, you'll take the top, you'll stick this back on here, and you will take your plug and you're gonna plug it in. And then you have to, the only thing you have to do is you do need to add water. So I've got some water. You'll put water into this water reservoir, and this is how you'll fill it up. The water reservoir comes into here, and that's what makes the humidity for the eggs. So if you think about a mother sitting on eggs, it's a very warm environment. It'll stay about 98 degrees and very humid. So that's what we're emulating here with the incubator. Basically, you just set it and you leave it like that, and that's all you have to do. And so you'll let this run for 24 days. After the second day or so, you can candle your eggs. So to candle your eggs, you don't want to open this up very often, but you can to grab an egg and then put this back on. You can grab your egg like this and put your cell phone with the light, the flashlight shining up like this in a dark room, and you'll be able to see the veins forming in the eggs. Okay, it's called candling the egg. Again, your cell phone flashlight is the best thing to use for this. You can buy a fancy candler if you want, but the cell phone flashlight works just as good. And then you'll stick your egg back in the incubator. You don't want them out for very long. Again, they need to stay warm and moist. The biggest problem that you'll have at the very end, if they do not stay warm and moist, especially the humidity. If the humidity does not stay high, we see a lot of splay legs with that. When they hatch, they come out and they can't stand up. Their legs are out like this. And we have some issues with quail like that. So again, you'll just let this run 24 days. After 24 days, you're gonna start getting some quail in here. You wanna take them out after about 24 hours. They are fine for 2 to 3 days without eating or drinking anything because of their umbilical sac. They've absorbed all of that nutrients and that water. So within 24 hours, I usually take mine out. So you'll very quickly reach in, grab one out, and you'll put it into your brooder box. So let's look at this. So in here, you'll take this stuff out, and this is where you're gonna put the chicks once they hatch. The only thing you won't have in here is paper towels. You're gonna wanna put paper towels covering the bottom. Do not use newspaper. Newspaper will cause them to slip. That's the worst thing that can happen to them. It will hurt their legs if they're slipping around on here, so you need something that they can grasp, and paper towels are great. If you have something like rabbits at home where you have pine shavings, that also works if you want that, but paper towels work just as good and they're super easy to clean. So you'll put paper towels in here. This is what's called a brooder plate, and it's warm, so you're gonna plug this in, and it's gonna be warm so that the baby quail can go under here like they would under their mother hen, their mother quail that's in here. And they want to be able to touch the back. So if you look, these legs are higher than these, and that way they can run under it. They can actually lift up their back and touch it, and then they'll run back out. This needs to stay in there the whole time. It's not so hot that you can't touch it. It won't burn your hands, but it's warm enough that it keeps them warm. So you'll stick this in there like that, and then you'll plug this in. You're going to want to add water and food. Water will go in the cup, and if you look at these eggs, at how tiny these eggs are, think about a quail, a bird coming out of this. Okay, so this bird is not going to be this big, or very big. So in order to get water, they need something super shallow so that they can drink from after they come out. Water goes in here, and then as they get a little bit older, you can put water in here. This is meant to put a water bottle on top, so that way you don't have to continuously add the water. And food, you can just take the food and pour a little bit into the cap like this. They will get in, they will scratch it all out, and then you'll be frustrated and you'll do that again the next day. And that's pretty much all they need. Make sure you check them before you leave at the end of the day, and the next morning when you come in, to make sure that they have water and food in their containers, right, in their brooder box. You will also want to put the lid on. These little guys can jump fairly early. They're precocious, which means that they, once they're born, they get up and start running. Okay, they're not like human babies. They have to be able to run away from predators. So you'll want to keep the lid on when you're not tending to the quail. And that's pretty much it. Keep this plugged in all the time. They need the heat, otherwise they will not do very well. They will not survive if they do not have that heat and food and water. So on day 24, this should be ready to go, set up, so that you can start moving your quail in here. After the majority of your quail have moved in, if you have some that haven't hatched yet, they probably will not hatch after about 5 days if most of them have moved in here. If they do hatch, they probably have some issues and probably don't want those to hatch. When we did this last time, we had a good hatch rate. About 10 out of every 12 eggs hatched. So expect about 10 baby quail. Once you have enjoyed all of the quail and you're done, you are going to bring them back here. So you can bring them back just in this container like this, throw it in the car with your things. When you come to the ranch, we're going to have a video that shows you how you're gonna clean this up, and then you're gonna put the quail in the brooder boxes for us, and then you'll package all of your stuff for your campus back in the campus box, and it'll be ready to go for the next year. And that's how you're gonna do it in your classroom. We have another video that's gonna explain in a little more detail some questions about viability and what to do with those special quail that hatch. That's it.